Troy Sports Hall of Fame member DeMarcus Ware, a 2005 graduate of Troy University, 11th overall draft pick of the NFL's Dallas Cowboys in 2005, and defensive star of the Denver Broncos, champions of Super Bowl 50, was honored in Alabama's capital by the governor and legislators on April 19, 2016, a date that will forevermore be known as DeMarcus Ware Day in Alabama. Troy Trojan Vision takes you to the scene in the House chambers of Alabama's capital.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is really a very exciting day for the state of Alabama, for Troy University, and for all the family of DeMarcus Ware. I want to welcome all of y'all to the Capitol. I know some of your family, some of your friends, and we want to welcome you here. You know, DeMarcus, may I say, as I've already said this morning, we are proud of you and what you've been able to accomplish, not only for the state of Alabama, but particularly for Troy University. I particularly want to welcome all of my fellow Board of Trustee members and all of you that represent this great university, Troy University, and Dr. Hawkins. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, and Senator Dial, who is the pro tem of our board, and it's a pleasure to have y'all with us today. You know, DeMarcus is really a very when you're around him, he's just a great guy, and but he's really a great example, I think, for young people who strive to achieve, who have opportunities presented to them, who take advantage of the God-given physical talents that God gives to us in different ways. You know, as I say about people who are say maybe disabled, we all have gifts, we just have different kind of gifts. Marcus has taken advantage of those gifts, and we're very proud of him today. You know, he didn't start playing football until he was in the 11th grade. Maybe that's enough, but obviously it is to be a number one draft choice. You know, and with the Dallas Cowboys, I think you were drafted with the Dallas Cowboys first. But as all of y'all saw in the Super Bowl, and those of us, and by the way, I have a jersey down there now that's number 94 that DeMarcus gave to me a few minutes ago, and so I should have brought it up here. I'm sure y'all, at least it would be a good photo op, wouldn't it, guys? But I appreciate that. But you know, those of you who watched the Super Bowl, which I did, you know, I saw DeMarcus in there a lot of times behind the line. You know, some of those big fat offensive linemen just couldn't block him. Isn't that right, DeMarcus? He's a little faster than they were, and he got around them, and he got to the quarterback. But he did a great job and represented so well, not only Alabama, but himself, his family, and this great university that he graduated from. He was telling me a while ago that when he went to Troy, he was not really sure about a scholarship even at Troy. And some of his friends that were playing down there said that they talked to the coach and said, you know, this guy's a good player. And he weighed 190 pounds, and so you were a wide receiver, you said at first, and so then they said, well, we need some defensive ends. So they put him as a defensive end at 190 pounds, I believe. Is that right, DeMarcus? But he grew a little bit, and by the time he left, he weighed 255 pounds. I think that's what DeMarcus told me. He doesn't weigh quite that much now because he's a little faster at about 240 or 245. But we are honored today, and I wanted to make today, and I'm going to be signing this in just a few minutes. We're going to make this day in Alabama DeMarcus Ware Day. And so so now there are All these gentlemen up here are going to speak, and I'm going to first call on Senator Gerald Dial, who is the pro tem of the Board of Trustees at Troy University, to come and speak first. Senator Dial.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, Governor, let me thank you for signing this proclamation and making this DeMarcus Ware Day. What a great day for Troy and the all Trojan family, and we certainly appreciate that. As I sit here and look out over the crowd, I would be remiss if I didn't see one person whose head is bigger than anybody else out there, including family, and that's Coach Blakely, who was responsible for helping you get to where you are. But today is a great day because we could not have a better ambassador and a better person representing Troy University, a great university that's doing great things in this state. And every time you watch a ball game with the Denver Broncos, they say, DeMarcus Ware, Troy University. That makes my heart pound, and I hope it does every other Trojan who is out there. So it's a great day. It's a great day for the Trojan family, for all here, and it's great that I have the opportunity to bring to the microphone one of the greatest leaders in this state, one of the leaders who has helped Troy get to the position it is, our Chancellor, Dr. Jack Hawkins. Dr. Hawkins.
Thank you so much. I say often, and many of you, particularly the alumni and the trustees who are here, you often hear me say that great universities stir great emotions. And I don't think our emotions could be stirred any more than they are today. I want to introduce two groups, even though they've been referred to. The first is the family of DeMarcus Ware. You know, all of us maintain that family values are important at Troy University, and indeed they are. And so when we have an opportunity to come together as a family, it's always a privilege and a pleasure. Let me ask the members of the family, as I introduce just a few, that when I call your name, if you would either raise your hand or stand up so we'll know who you are, and then we'll recognize everybody as a group. But it's a special pleasure for me to introduce the mother of DeMarcus Ware, Miss Brenda Ware. His sister, Jaquitha. The grandparents, John and Willie Mae Ware. And his two beautiful children, Marley and DeMarcus Jr. And I think there are about 24 other family members. Would you either stand up or raise your hand and let us say thank you for being here? Governor, I'd be remiss if I didn't, on behalf of the university, express to you how grateful we are, not only for today, but for you making sure that we have trustees who are up to the task. And I would be quick to say that Senator Dial, he just provides just extraordinary leadership, and he has a team of trustees that I would hold against any trustee board in this country. Please hold your applause. I just want you to know who they are. Miss Karen Carter, if you'll just raise your hand or stand up. Let me see. Mr. Roy Drinkard, Mr. Lamar Higgins, Mayor Earl Johnson, Mr. Charles Nayland, Mr. Alan Owen, and Mr. Gibson Vance. Thank you, Governor. You've done a great job. When I think of DeMarcus Ware, and I'm going to take the privilege of sharing two personal stories that most of us can relate to, I don't think immediately of his NFL success. I think of DeMarcus Ware, the student, the person, a person who has been shaped by a family that loves him, a person that all of us can be proud of and welcome home as a favorite son. But when I think of the Troy University family and I think of the importance of athletics in telling that story, I go back to so many different dates over these last many years, but particularly just after we moved the program up under Coach Blakeney's leadership to Division I-A at the FBS level. And I'll never forget, and I don't think anybody who was there or was even remotely identified with the program we'll ever forget. Troy 33, Marshall 24, the first time our goalposts were ever torn down. And I don't think we'll ever forget either where DeMarcus was, and he was in the backfield of the other team more than their quarterback was. And then the next year, we hosted Missouri. They came in the top 20, and they went home disappointed. Another great night for Troy University. And then in April of 2005, we were proud of DeMarcus. We didn't know when he came in, Governor, weighing 190 pounds, that several years later he would be a first-round draft pick, but indeed he was the 11th. We thought he should have been the first, but he was the 11th person picked in the first round of the NFL draft. And since that time, he has crafted a story of few equals. He's carved out a Hall of Fame career. I think all of us expect that at some point. 9 Pro Bowl selections, 7 times an All-Pro selection, a member of the NFL All-Decade team, the leading leader in sacks and forced fumbles for the Cowboys, and he led the Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl. Now let me tell you a quick story about DeMarcus the student, because indeed, Ms. Ware, he promised you that he was going to graduate. And he told me when he was going through those combines, our paths intersected. I was going somewhere, and DeMarcus was going to a combine, and we intersected at the airport in Atlanta, and it gave us about an hour to sit and chat. And during that conversation, I asked DeMarcus, and actually I told him, I said, you can't play this game forever. Now, he's about to prove me wrong. I said, you can't play this game forever. What will you do when you grow up? And he didn't hesitate. He said, I want to teach computer science in college. I said, that's an honorable thing to do. I want you to do that. 3 years later, we were out in Dallas, and we were doing these television spots, and they had done some work with DeMarcus, and he and I were just sitting there talking during the lull in the video. And I asked him that question again, just testing him. I said, DeMarcus, you can't play this game forever. What do you plan to do when you grow up? And he looked at me and he said, well, Dr. Hawkins, I'll tell you the same thing I told you the last time you asked me that question. He remembered. He said, I want to teach computer science in college. I thought for a moment, because he was just on the verge of entering a new contract, and here's what I told him. I said, DeMarcus, let me tell you what has changed. I said, what has changed is you now can afford to teach. As we walked into the Capitol this morning en route to the governor's office, we reflected on that story. I reminded him that in 2008, I gave him another scholarship besides that athletic scholarship that Coach Blakeney had given him, except it was to do academic work at his master's program. And I told him, I'm going to scholarship you for one course because I know you can afford to pay the rest of the tuition. And he told me this morning he is about to enter our MBA program, and we're excited to get him back. Before I ask DeMarcus to come forward, let me say this. You know, all of us are so blessed to know so many winners in life, and you'd look far and wide before you'd find a better person. He's a great football player, but he's a greater man. And so I want to say to DeMarcus how proud we are of him. We were talking about some advice that I heard Senator Dial give a group 40 years ago. We were just reflecting on that and because it captures the essence, I think, of relationships. And Senator Dial said that many years ago, you never lose an old friend to make a new one. Loyalty. This man is loyal to the core. He is humble, but he is one of Alabama's greatest success stories. Please welcome DeMarcus Ware.
I see everybody up here, they have their speeches ready, and they're on a little piece of paper. But I'm in the new age, so I got my cell phone here. So, but this right here is just a big, big opportunity for me from sort of where I started at. When I thought about what I should really talk about, I really want to talk about just this phrase, and it always meant a lot to me. And order my steps in your words, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me every day. Send me your anointing, Father, I pray. Order my steps in your words. In life, it's amazing how people say a straight line is the best way to get to point A to point B. But to me, the circle's a little bit more exciting when you can end up in the same place where you started. I took my steps in this state, in sweet home Alabama. And how sweet it is to be a product of an environment of so many loving people. They say it takes a village to raise a man. And as a father, I see the importance of the village in my own children. These accomplishments wouldn't be possible at all if I didn't encounter the people in my own village who are in this room that gave me just a little bit of time. Their time was important to me because, there are always broken pieces. There could be, fathers missing. There could be mothers missing in a family. But I always go back and say, if you have your almighty God, when you have your grandparents, when you have your cousins and coaches and trainers and teachers, when you have, Governor Bentley, when you have Senator Dowell and Chancellor Hawkins and elected officials, when you have members of the Board of Trustees and Trojan Nation, when you have people like that behind you, it really, really means a lot. And all that adds up, and you never lose the framework of a true portrait. All these things come together, you create the perfect portrait. And I want to thank everyone because, as you see today, the portrait is on the platform right now. And that portrait is me. You guys, everybody in here is part of me. All those personalities, I got some from everybody in here just with that little bit of time that y'all gave me. Because all those pieces would be incomplete. And the portrait would be incomplete without all of you. I can't sort of find any kind words to say to show my gratitude just for this day. I'm just so humble because I can't thank people enough on April the 19th. They say, this is DeMarcus Ware Day. And I sit back here and I say, wow, from where I came from, Auburn, Alabama, going in the foothills right here in Maxwell Air Force Base, walking around this city, going all the way down there to Troy. Y'all know about 231. Back and forth, Auburn, the back roads. So on paper, to me, it says DeMarcus Ware Day. But in my heart of hearts, it stands for family and the village that everyone tries to build. And I really want to just say, God bless to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. I now will be signing our proclamation. One other person that we didn't introduce today was Dr. Hawkins' wife, and we want to introduce you and welcome you also here, and thank you for being here with us.